Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Aces High, and we're actually going to be moving into the last part of the Napoleonic Wars invasion into Russia. Um, it's been crazy, and I said before, and I'll say it again: you can't beat Russia in the snow. It's a horrible plan, and unfortunately, Napoleon he knew about the tough Russian winters, but Russia burned to the ground. I mean, Moscow basically burnt to the ground. And his plan kind of fell apart. It's unfortunate, but now he is in mass retreat. If you guys haven't seen my other ones, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the playlist right up here in the top right, and yeah. Go check it out. It's an awesome series. The original videos are by Epic History TV. They're a solid channel. I'll put their link down in the description. If you guys haven't seen them, seriously, go check them out and subscribe. Uh, I know they'll appreciate it. On that note, if you guys haven't subbed to my channel, hit that sub button, ring the bell. I give out at least 7 videos a week. That's at least 1 video a day. And basically, they will all be history. And then any other videos I want to choose on top of those might be geography. I'm thinking about getting into some GeoGuessr matches. If you guys have seen GeoGuessr, it's awesome. Basically, Google Maps will drop you into a place, and you have to look around and guess where you are based off just hints of looking. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. This one is the second half of Napoleon's Retreat from Moscow, 1812 by Epic History TV. And it's going to be one of the last Napoleonic War videos we watch. We only have 4 more after this before we get into the Marshals. Anyway, let's get started.
Not every French corps broke through at Krasny. Marshal Ney and his 6,000-strong rearguard arrived on the 18th of November to find the road blocked by 60,000 Russian troops, and no sign of the promised support from Davout's First Corps. Ney's men hurled themselves against the Russian lines with desperate courage, but were mown down.
I believe it.
Rejecting several invitations to surrender, Ney led the survivors in a daring night crossing of the Dnieper River, then across 45 miles of open country under constant attack from Platov's Cossacks to reach Orsha.
Wow.
By the time Ney rejoined the army, his rearguard was down to just 800 fighting men, leading a column of several thousand stragglers. The army regarded his escape as a miracle, and when Napoleon heard of it, he immediately dubbed Marshal Ney the bravest of the brave.
He is, that's incredible. It just, and so many losses. It's just, what a daring run. Wow.
Napoleon had escaped one trap, but now 3 Russian armies were closing in from different directions and outnumbered him nearly 3 to 1. From the east, Kutuzov's main army with 65,000 men. From the north, Wittgenstein with 30,000, steadily driving back Marshal Victor's 9th Corps. And from the south, Admiral Chichagov's army of Moldavia with 34,000, having detached General Ostensaken with 30,000 to prevent Schwarzenberg's Austrians and Reynier's Saxon Corps marching to Napoleon's aid. Napoleon was heading for Minsk, a major French supply base with vast stores of the food, clothing, shoes and ammunition that his army so desperately needed. But on the 21st of November, disastrous news arrived. Minsk had fallen to Chichagov.
Wow.
He'd then marched on Borisov, driven out the Polish garrison, and captured its bridge over the Berezina River. By rights, the Berezina ought to have frozen solid by now, so Napoleon could have crossed anywhere. But a sudden thaw had turned the river into a torrent of ice and freezing water.
Oh my God.
Napoleon was at least joined by the hard-fighting Marshal Oudinot and his Second Corps, which hadn't suffered as badly as the main column on its retreat from Polotsk. Oudinot launched an immediate counterattack on Borisov and retook the town, but couldn't stop the Russians burning the bridge. With no other bridge for miles in either direction, it seemed Napoleon's exhausted army was finally doomed. But there was one sliver of hope. Polish cavalry had found a ford across the river near the village of Studienka. Napoleon issued a flurry of orders. Second Corps was to fake preparations for a river crossing south of Borisov. Victor's 9th Corps, arriving from the north, was to form a rear guard east of Studienka to hold the Russians at bay, while engineers worked as quickly as possible to build pontoon bridges across the river and win Napoleon's army a fighting chance of escape.
Wow. It's just incredible to see. You have Napoleon's army, just this massive, massive army, 500,000 people going into Russia, and it just, every little thing is just going wrong and going wrong and going wrong, you know? It's just, now it's almost nothing anymore. It's just, oh my God. And right after Spain, too, it's so many hard hits.
On the afternoon of the 25th of November, General Eblé's Dutch engineers began building two 300-foot pontoon bridges across the Berezina River. They worked day and night,
Oh my God, they're in the
chest
river.
deep in freezing water, and completed both bridges in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
Few of the engineers survived the ordeal.
I believe it.
Chichagov had been totally fooled by the diversion south of Borisov, and was moving his troops south to face it, allowing Napoleon's army to begin crossing its rickety bridges virtually unopposed. Oudinot's 2nd Corps led the way to secure a bridgehead, followed the next day by the remnants of the main army.
Why is France
Priority
sitting in
was
the back
given to
still?
formed troops, still able to fight. For the time being, the army's vast crowd of stragglers remained on the far bank.
Wow.
By the time Chichagov realized his mistake and began moving north, Napoleon had troops in place to defend the crossing.
My question is, what's going on here? Are they staying behind to retake this city once all the troops go up there? Is that the plan?
On the east bank, General Partonneux's 12th Division, 4,000 relatively fresh troops from Victor's 9th Corps, formed the rearguard. As Platov's Cossacks approached from the east, the vanguard of Kutuzov's main army, Partonneux tried to rejoin 9th Corps.
He ain't gonna get there.
But caught in a swirling blizzard, with visibility down to 50 meters, he marched straight into Wittgenstein's army.
Oh God.
His entire division was killed or captured.
Wow.
The next morning, Chichagov and Wittgenstein launched coordinated attacks on both sides of the river. There was desperate fighting on the west bank, where Marshal Oudinot was, yet again, seriously wounded, but his Swiss infantry held the line, until General Doumerc's cuirassiers, the army's last heavy cavalry, charged and routed the Russians.
Wow.
At great cost, Polish and German troops of Victor's rearguard held off the Russians until dark, then pulled back across the bridges. For 2 nights, officers had been trying to get the vast camp of stragglers to cross the bridges when they weren't being used. But with temperatures reaching -30 centigrade, they'd preferred to stay put, huddled around their fires. At dawn on
Whoa,
the
whoa,
29th...
whoa, whoa. Did he just say -30 or -20 centigrade? Jesus Christ. That's cold, man. Oh my god, I knew it was cold, but I was thinking like -5 or something. That is incredible.
With the army leaving and the Russians approaching, thousands of stragglers surged in panic towards the bridges.
Oh, they
Dozens
probably
were
died.
crushed underfoot. Others fell or were pushed into the water, or tried to swim, which was certain death. When French engineers burned the bridges at 9 a.m, thousands were cut off and left to the mercy of the advancing Cossacks. Some became prisoners.
Wow.
Others were simply put out of their misery. Since the retreat began 43 days earlier, the Grande Armée had marched nearly 500 miles, under constant attack, starved, exhausted, and for the last 23 days, in lethal sub-zero temperatures, without proper clothing or shelter.
Wow.
In that time, the fighting strength of the Grande Armée had been reduced from around 124,000 men to 20,000.
That's it?
With as many stragglers still following the army.
Oh my god. Napoleon doesn't have an army
Retreat
anymore.
continued to Vilna. The weather turned even worse.
Listen, I understand that Napoleon has, some people down in Spain, still some people in different areas, all that, but I mean, he just lost another 100,000 men. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
The temperatures falling to -37 degrees centigrade. The Russian armies at least now held back, leaving the winter, Cossacks and Russian peasants to finish off the invaders. On the 5th of December, Napoleon left the army, travelling incognito across Europe at breakneck speed, and reaching Paris in just 13 days. Naturally, English satirists capitalized on Napoleon seeming to abandon his defeated army, and many soldiers did regard it as an act of betrayal. But his generals supported his decision to leave. There'd already been one attempted coup against Napoleon in Paris, and there was much work to be done to rebuild the army and reassure France's allies. On the 9th of December, 51 days after the retreat began, around 20,000 ragged survivors of the Grande Armée began crossing the Naiman River back into friendly Polish territory. According to legend, Marshal Ney was the last man across.
Dude, the Marshal Ney, he just seems incredibly brave. Through all this, that's, wow. Also, one thing, and they'll probably talk about it in just a second, but sure, they may have crossed back into Polish land, but what about Austria and Prussia? Last I heard, they were still talking with Russia in secret talks, so they might be kind of surrounded at this point. Wow.
Napoleon's invasion of Russia had proved to be one of the greatest military disasters in history.
Yeah.
He had made fatal miscalculations about geography, logistics, and above all, Russia's political and strategic response to his invasion.
Dude looks even fatter than he did last time. Napoleon's been gaining a lot of weight. Does he have a medical issue, or is he just eating well? Because all his soldiers are starving over in Russia, and look at him, he gained weight.
These blunders cost his empire around 500,000 men, as well as 250,000 horses and 1,000 cannon.
Wow.
Put another way, of every 12 men who marched into Russia with the Grande Armée, one was killed in action or died of wounds. 2 were taken prisoner, one of whom died in captivity. 7 died from disease or the effects of climate.
Oh my God.
Just 2 returned alive.
I love when they lay it out like this. It's an incredible way to look at it, and that's just. I know disease and climate typically killed a lot of soldiers back then, but you don't fight Russia in winter. Russia winter will kill you. And he knew about it too. I just think he got greedy when he wanted to take Moscow before the winter. I think it was a huge mistake. But I mean, hindsight's 20/20, you know?
Contrary to myth, many more soldiers had died in the summer advance from heat, typhus and dysentery than were lost in the winter retreat. Russian military casualties were estimated at 150,000.
Wow.
And a huge but unknown number of civilian deaths. The Russian campaign was a catastrophe for Napoleon.
Yeah. And he still
Not
has to deal with
just in
Spain.
lost troops and resources, but in damage to prestige and reputation. That winter, all his enemies sensed weakness and prepared to join forces against him. But the Emperor wasn't going down without a fight. Back in Paris, he admitted to his ministers, "Fortune has dazzled me, gentlemen. I've let it lead me astray. Instead of following my plan, I went to Moscow. I thought I'd make peace there. I stayed too long. I've made a grave mistake, but I'll have the means to repair it."
Okay. You guys, let's talk about that. There are 4 videos left in this series before I move on to Napoleon's marshals, which I'm really excited about. I want to learn more about each of his marshals. That being said, though, yeah, I mean, it was a huge mistake. You don't fight Russia in winter. It was smart. He knew about the tough Russian winters, and he was going to hunker down, but he just wanted to take Moscow, and that was a huge mistake, you know? Now he's got almost no army. He's got Great Britain, or he's got the English that want to attack him. He's got his Spanish problems. He's got Russia moving in. Looks like Austria and Prussia are standing up again. Now Sweden doesn't like him either. I mean, everybody's kind of closing in on him from all different angles, and he's dealing with coups in Paris. It's not looking so good. It's incredible. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time, this is Aces High. I love y'all, and I'm out.